You're listening to a Galactic Network podcast.
The Podcast of Terror is a show with adult themes, run by adults, for adults. Please do not have your children listen to this show. It might be beneficial to them in the long run, but please wait until they are older. This is one of those things. It's like when you laugh when you're playing bingo and 069 comes up and you have a chuckle and your kitty says, Mommy, why are you laughing at 069? And the mommy says, when you're older. It's one of those kinds of things. Mommy, can I listen to Podcast of Terror? Sure. When you're older. This is a show with adult themes and some childish behavior. A lot of dick jokes. So please. If you want to avoid the swearing, if you want to avoid spoilers for your favorite horror movies, and if you want to avoid really, really lame, petty dick jokes, do not listen to this show. It is not for you.
Corey, how often do you wear a shirt?
Not as often as you would think.
Yeah, it's always nice to cover up your nipples, and maybe your neighbors are complaining because they're hairy. I know you wear shirts when we do these shows. That's about it, from what I understand.
It's more that I just give off a glare that blinds drivers by.
It is hot in California, so I assume that you sweat. There's a slight sheen to you, and the California sun just...
I don't even sheen. I Estevez.
That is... If you do not want to Estevez in public... We have two places in which you can go. We got two coupon codes to make your life a little cheaper. You can go visit frequent guest and friend of the show, Matt Vincent, his website, thehate.com. That's the HVIII.com. Use the coupon code HBG15 for 50% off your order. Maybe you hate him. I don't know. He's kind of a likable guy. But if you hate him and you want to go spend your money somewhere else, we got this other place. Go to statusfearmerch.com. Another sponsor of the show, friend of the show. He does all our artwork. He's a really nice guy. He does all the art for my band, except for the stuff that Corey's wife draws. Head over to statusfearmerch.com. Use the coupon code TERROR. Get you a little nice discount there. Welcome to episode 110. The Podcast Era production of the Galactic Network. I'm your host, Matt Stein. With me, as always, is Corey. I'm 2 inches closer to my camera, and it's kind of freaking Matt out, Scott.
Maybe I'm just ballooning.
No, now you look normal. But at first you got here, and it was like, I felt like I was inside of you.
Am I turning violet? Do I look like I need to be juiced?
I mean, if you want, we could get up in there with a rectal douche.
Yeah, exactly.
Juice your butthole.
It's like getting milked in porn, except when you get juiced, it comes out with a color palette of usually red because I've got kidney stones.
Oh boy! Joining us this week is a returning guest, filmmaker, dealer with of our shit. It's Anthony Raus. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Donning the signature black smoking jacket. Looking dapper as fuck to talk to the internet.
And I got the turtleneck. It's turtleneck season now.
It's turtleneck season. It is. I don't know how the weather has been by you, but
you went to a makeout party and you know it. And you just don't want us to see.
He's got a big old hickey. I don't know how. So we're recording this on Sunday. So Monday, which was less than 1 week ago, it was 60 degrees out, and yesterday it was like 10, and we're supposed to get a couple inches of snow tonight.
Yeah, we got snow last night.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid. I saw Buffalo got just butt fucked with snow today.
Yeah.
Good old Buffalo. So, it's been like 2 months. What are you up to? How are things? Talking to you.
You know he's talking to you, Anthony.
He's talking to me?
Yeah.
I talk to Corey once a week. Why do I give a shit? What
All
is
the
life
time.
up to?
Oh, shit.
No shortage of the Corey
I
conversation.
get a lot of Corey.
Yeah.
I get about 8 inches of Corey every week.
That's true. That's like 3 times and a nap in between.
Around. It's 8 inches around.
Yeah, it's not the last thing you want. The last thing you want is sobriety.
Old baby arm Scott over there. Seriously though, how's it going? You mentioned that you have been shooting movies.
Yeah, I'm working on something now. It's not a horror film. It's the first non-horror film that I directed. So I'm doing a Christmas film, and it's kind of like a cross between A Christmas Carol and It's a Wonderful Life. So
here I thought you were shooting I thought you were shooting a Christmas horror story.
Well, I couldn't stay away, so I'm doing there's like a short film that opens the short film, and that's a horror film.
So there's a short that opens a short.
Short, a short like a 2-minute thing that opens.
But how long is the short that the short is opening for?
The short being opened is 2 minutes, and the short that it's opening for is 10 minutes long.
So it's not like the Frozen opening that's happening during Coco right now that everybody complained about, and so they had to remove it because it was a 20 fucking minute short about Olaf, and everybody's like, "Can we get on with the fucking movie? I didn't come here to hear the goddamn Frozen songs again."
Whoa. I want to hear the Frozen songs on repeat.
I know you do.
I'm lying. Still have yet to see the movie, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Coco? Oh, it was really good.
No, not Coco. Frozen.
Oh, Frozen. Okay.
Yeah. I've heard Coco is good, not only from you, but Frozen is just. Yeah, I have no interest in it. I don't have children. I don't need.
And I don't have children, so I want to see the other children's movie from Pixar. First of all, I like a lot of the Pixar stuff. I haven't seen Frozen either. I'm sure I wouldn't have any issues with it, other than the fact that it just blew up so big that I think we're all kind of a little bit led to believe that it's crap, even though it's probably just that it's so good. That's why kids love it and all identify with it and want to watch it all the time. And it's just parents who are frustrated, like anything that you have on repeat. When I was still living in Michigan, my little brother was addicted at the time of his like very young life, was addicted to Mary Poppins, and would just, as soon as Mary Poppins is over, rewind, play it over again. My ex's kid, when we were together, he was addicted to Batman and Robin, the Joel Schumacher, George Clooney Batman film, which is, of course, the epitome of Batman movies.
Right.
He watched it all the goddamn time. And like Mary Poppins a lot, but after the 5th time watching it, it's just as bad as Batman and Robin because you can't handle any more of that. It's tough because kids like things on repeat.
Right. And and I'm one of those people, I'm from the generation that's like, Disney can do no wrong. Disney's perfect. Disney is a not-for-profit organization. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit biased on that, but yeah, when I was a kid, it was The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
All the time.
And I had the Wizard of Oz. I had an 8-track of the movie. So it was like the soundtrack, but it had interspersed the scenes of them talking and everything too. So I would listen to that all the time. Little Orphan Annie was another one. The
That's a good one too.
Live show was before they had the movie.
Right.
I had the live recording, and I listened to that on a trip up to my aunt's cabin. And my dad, by the time we got halfway through the weekend, was like, "I'm going to put your fucking 8-track player in the lake, and I'm going to ask if you were holding on to it later, because at that moment, I'm not going to care." It was too much. But my wife now, I come in and she's watching the same goddamn movies. When I was walking into the room, I decided to put on Step Brothers for her because I knew as soon as she walks in, that's what she's going to have on anyways. So I can't imagine that there's a week that goes by that I don't see Step Brothers, Poltergeist, or one of a half dozen other movies that are just her regular staple of like always on.
Step Brothers.
So my wife is 6 years old.
Your wife's not really 6 years old. I don't want someone to hear this and think the wrong thing. You've enslaved a child to be your wife, your legal property.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not running for election anytime soon, so I can trade down when I go for it.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
I was gonna say something at some point and I forgot because
I ranted.
No, just because I have a very short attention span.
You're cute though.
Why do you think so?
I do. But I saw Anthony's trailer for his new Christmas movie. It got me right in the feels. The mix of the scenes and the description. It looks like it's going to be an emotional watch, and I love that. Our expectation of you is horror stuff because that's how we found you and that's how we met you, and certainly that's a big part of who you are as a creator. But I love that you will not just do that, because that's the thing is, as an artist, you right now, especially, you get to chase the things that matter to you, not just stick yourself into one thing. And like, that's the expectations are nice, especially when people say, oh, we need a horror director. Oh, well, we can grab Anthony because he knows this stuff backwards and forwards. It's like, yeah, but what if we need a director for a Hallmark movie? You know,
Right.
That sounds perfectly valid.
Yeah, and it's the main reason I brought it up is because the movie that we're talking about is Black Christmas, and Bob Clark, the director of that, also did
Porn.
A Christmas Story.
Oh, yes.
So porn too.
Everyone did porn.
But yeah,
Actually, just speaking of A Christmas Story, we know that one of the kids from that did go on to being, and it, strangely enough, it's a kid who had his tongue stuck to the pole half the time. So,
really?
Hey,
oh yeah.
So your mention of porn reminded me of what I was going to say. So
there we go.
The guy, yeah, right. The guy who wrote the song "Let It Go" also wrote "The Internet Is for Pornography."
Oh, from Avenue
Q.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a great little. I would love to see that live.
That's a great show.
But just the music from it is excellent.
Oh yeah.
I like pornography.
I like Broadway shows. What did that say about me?
I'd like to see a Broadway pornography.
Oh,
is that a thing we could do?
I don't. I would wonder. I would not want to sit up close because I'd feel like I'd be in the Gallagher splash zone.
You have to wear the fucking
the raincoat.
Yeah, they give you a raincoat. Watch out for Act 3. She's a squirter.
Yep, it's vag-o-matic. By the way, squirting mostly pee.
It's true. It's true.
Sorry to ruin your illusions, people.
Yeah, it's just fucking strange.
Every time I hear about people and like Breitbart and stuff saying things like he's a cook and everything, I'm like, those are men who believe that pornography is real. It just like, how am I supposed to take your article seriously?
I had delivered pizzas for a while. Not a true story. I delivered chicken wings. And I'd always just show up and be like, and the music.
Yeah, because if they set you out with a pizza, that pizza wasn't showing up anywhere.
Fuck no. Yeah.
I had chicken wings a few minutes ago.
Oh my god, I love chicken so much.
So good.
Now I want chicken wings.
You have chickens in your backyard right now, don't you?
Yeah, but I can't eat them.
Oh, okay.
They're not like meat chickens. They are egg chickens.
I mean, they technically are meat chickens. You could.
Yeah, but it's, the meat's not very good. I've heard
No.
Like a couch you're not allowed to sit on.
What? Why are my
Ridiculous.
chickens on a couch?
Well, I don't know.
Is it the casting couch? Is it that black couch in pornographies?
Right. Okay. Rest in peace, August Ames.
Wait,
no, it just like. Never mind.
Okay.
You have chickens that you're not allowed to eat. It's like having furniture that you're not allowed to use, or a room that you're kept out of.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not that I'm not allowed to eat them, but if I eat them, then they stop laying eggs, and I want to eat their eggs.
Well,
Yeah,
just
that's always tough.
learn how to lay an egg, Matt, and you're good.
Oh my god, I lay an egg 2-3 times a day.
Oh.
It's just poop.
I mean, essentially, you shit out the soft insides of a chicken. It's kind of like laying an egg, except without the shell.
Well, yeah, and then there's also the soft insides of pizza, and the soft insides of chips, and the soft insides
Sounds
of tacos.
delicious. Why are we not eating crap?
I'm gonna eat my own feces next time.
That's where all the best stuff is.
Roll it up into a ball and deep fry it. I'm gonna air fry it because I'm trying to be healthy.
Get on that. That's the Star Trek matter thing I'm looking for. Is
this is what happens when we record later than normal past my bedtime.
actually suggesting Human Centipede.
Oh boy! Wait, what? You want to watch Human
Actually-
Centipede? Oh!
No,
I
she's
just saw
saying
it,
it. I remember a meme from a few years ago, which was the Human Centipede, and it was all festive, and it said, "There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's."
That's true. I remember that too.
So good. and made me really hungry for a Reese's in a way that I cannot feel good about myself.
So if I eat my own poop, am I like a one person human centipede?
Yeah, or you're Kevin Costner in Waterworld, where he drank his own
really
urine.
like that movie.
Why?
It's
Why
not
is
like, I
that
don't think it's like
okay?
a good story. It was entertaining. He's got gills, and I always wanted gills, and it's probably really not a good movie. I also have not seen it in a very long time. I think
Is
it's
it just so you can pleasure men in hot tubs that you want gills? Why?
well, there's really no easy way to breathe underwater with a dick in your mouth, so I need gills.
That's true.
I'm gonna find someone to surgically implant gills in me so I can suck dick underwater.
Be invited to every party.
Yeah, I was like, neither of you are disagreeing with my logic here.
And water park. Yeah, just in general.
That's how the creature from the Black Lagoon did it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that the creature from the Black Lagoon was given knobbers down there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the new Shape of Water movie by Guillermo del Toro?
I'm so excited. I haven't seen it yet because I've been waiting for someone to see it. I am the biggest Guillermo del Toro fan.
It looks excellent.
I saw the Guillermo del Toro tequila in a liquor store here.
Yeah, he oh god, if you watch the commercial for it, he directed the commercial.
Yeah,
And it's the coolest thing.
So part of him, I think he needs to be stopped a little bit.
I've never been
Nazi kills a little girl with monsters all around, and then he reaches for some whiskey off the
That's exactly what happens. Exactly.
I don't know. I don't drink tequila because it makes me angry. But paying I think it was $400 for the box and the bottle doesn't seem worth it to me.
I don't drink tequila because it makes me feel like I'm drinking
Tequila
nail polish remover.
I'll tell you what though. I drank Ron Ron juice yesterday. If you watch Jersey Shore, this will make more sense to you. But I watched Jersey Shore and drank Ron Ron juice yesterday. And holy fucking shit, man. If you want to drink like sugar booze, that's the way to go. It's watermelon juice, cranberry juice, maraschino cherries, and vodka, and then you blend it with ice.
Wow.
It's just sugary and sweet. And then I got gut rot and had to switch to beer like a man.
We had our holiday party for work last night, and I brought Erin, and she had something called a holiday sangria. And then she had 4 more glasses of holiday sangria. Oh. And Erin was a little fucked up and hungover when she was going to work today. And I love my wife a lot. I absolutely do. But there is nothing more fun than driving home with my wife when she's had her drink on, and just the conversations that flow that I am not a part of. And it just how it happens, and I just enjoy it. I wish I recorded it. And I was playing some Robbie Williams swing album, and he was doing a swing version of If I Only Had a Brain, but on the radio it showed If I Only Had a Bra. And so Erin decided to rewrite the song If I Only Had a Brain. And she starts out with, if my dick was a little bigger, and I had to stop her right then. I said, baby, there is no way in shit that you can come up with a rhyme. I don't trust your free flowing skills to come up a rhyme with bigger that isn't going to make me really mad at you and push you out into Harlem. So she's like, no, I would have done. Oh no, you're right. She's like, yep, I heard it in my head. There's nothing else I could have done. Like, yeah, you can't freestyle. You can't freestyle off that word.
Wow. On that note, since we're getting flack in the chat for it, what you drinking, guys?
Me first?
Yeah, you have to go first always.
Okay. I'm doing rum and coke in a red Solo cup because I didn't do dishes.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. What you need to do is you got to get. I have this. It's just full of water right now, but it's like a big double wall Solo cup.
So you just can reuse it.
Yeah,
oh,
and it's
sweet.
like 32 ounces.
So it defeats the whole point of the Solo cup of not having to do dishes. Now you have a Solo cup you have to fucking wash.
Well, kind of.
And try to hold on to it at a party so that someone else doesn't take off with it.
But the majority of the time, I only drink water out of it because it's massive. It's like a 32-ounce cup. I always drink beer out of a glass because I'm classy.
Pinky out.
Yeah. Pinky out. Corey, what are you doing? What are you putting in your mouth?
It's just fucking iced tea, man. My throat's a little scratchy. I didn't use my breathing machine last night, and the fucking heater's been running the house, so it's dry in here. I'm probably catching cold.
How hot is it out there?
Oh, it's been it's getting up into the mid 60s in the day, but it's going down to the low 30s in the evening.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure it's like realistic that you have your heater on.
Yeah,
fine. You win that round.
And Aaron told me to sleep on the couch last night because her butt was being questionable.
Yep, I know how that goes.
Which means it would have been a lot warmer in bed, but
you may have choked to death.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Hold on. So Growly's asking how a solo cup is used. I don't know if he's making a joke, and it's just going directly over my head, or if he's, I don't know, maybe solo cups aren't a thing there? Do you not have solo cups in your homeland, Growly? Oh, we wait a couple minutes. While we're waiting, I'm drinking, it's French. The entire fucking bottle is in French, and it's a lambic.
It looks like it says Jizz Boone.
Yep, old Jizz Boone. It's Boone's Jizz. It's a 2012. It's not a nice vintage. It's kind of gross.
The Jizz of frontiersman Daniel Boone.
Wow, holy shit! Is that what this says?
I don't know.
It's not pasteurized seed. Man,
you can use it to kill a bar when you're only 3.
It's best before the end of 2034.
Best before the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't plan to live till 2034, so if I want to drink it. I'll be damned. Well, so that's a thing. This is the part where we read the thing that we were supposed to read 15 minutes ago. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, and subscription links, go to gncast.com/pot. Chat with us on our Slack channel during our shows, gncast.com/signup. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter.
In answer to the earlier statement, nope, there's nothing close to a red Solo cup.
So it is essentially a plastic disposable cup that is popular at college parties because you can buy, Anthony's holding his up, but you can buy like 100 of them for like $5.
Now, you probably can't, and this is only for the visual. I've got a
Dixie cup.
Yeah, it's a coaster that we made for our old podcast, the D20, that was at the D20.net. And in the first episode, I made some sort of statement about thank you, Dixie Cup, about the state of my life, I think. And I said, and here I am masturbating in a corner. Thank you, Dixie Cup. And that became our first product on our web store at that point. So I don't even know if they're available anymore, but it does have a red Solo cup on it because Dixie Cups are not as photogenic, I guess.
Yeah, and like Solo, man, I can't remember like what happened. Like Solo made cups, and then they made red ones, and they blew up, and now like red Solo cup is like a registered trademark. Like this big ass double walled one is like a registered Solo item, and it wasn't fucking cheap, but I get my use out of it. What would the world be without red Solo cups?
Probably on the floor looking up spilled beer.
Yeah, it's not like
it's just we are
cups.
with
like,
red Solo cups.
I have broke many a red Solo cup. Like you squeeze it.
We would have never heard that lovely little jaunty tune by Anna Kendrick, and at every fucking commercial for Pitch Perfect and its sequels, we'd never hear that song.
What's that?
When I'm Gone.
Oh, I don't know that one. It's probably a good thing.
It's adorable. She did a little video. I say a little video because I'm demeaning all of her talents.
Oh, good.
She did a music video for it, and then they used the song in the Pitch Perfect movie. But in the video for the song, she's doing something with Solo cups where she's like flipping them over and banging them and stuff, and it's the percussion.
I thought
song.
she was playing Flip Cup. I was really good at that game. Never knew why.
It's sort of Flip Cup except musically. And it's really good, and she's really awesome. But I, of course, am a man talking about her on the internet, so I'm being completely disrespectful.
Growly, the solo cups are pretty much the same. They're just red. And yeah, but if you squeeze it too hard, you will just destroy it. They're not made for they're made for speed, not comfort. If that even makes sense. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
The last time that I got so drunk that I regretted everything about my life,
I can't wait for this.
it was definitely Red Solo Cup night. Someone made jungle juice.
Oh boy.
And in the jungle juice, this is like, I'd never had jungle juice before as it was. And I think I started with the solo cup, and then somebody moved me up to a giant fucking cup from a Big Gulp. But so the jungle juice had fruit in it, and the fruit had soaked in vodka for about 48 hours before they put it into the jungle juice.
Yep.
And made everything else.
Yep.
So I was going slow, but then I was drinking the juice and something slipped down my throat that had the consistency of a soft-boiled egg.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck did I just drink? And this is before there was American Pie, so I didn't know anything about Stifler's issues. And I said, the fuck did I just eat in my drink? And my friend said, did you eat the fruit? And I said, I don't have any fucking idea. And he raises up his hand and he stops everybody in the party. He goes, guys, what is the one rule of the jungle juice? And everybody in unison says, don't eat the fruit. And I'm like, I ate the fruit. And I think it was like a key lime, and I'm already allergic to citrus as it is. So yeah, I've got alcohol poisoning, some sort of food poisoning. And then someone said, here, wash it down with some hot damn. So I felt fucking miserable. It's one of those weekends where you spend it sleeping in front of your toilet or anything that's cold. Like my stepbrother had a waterbed that was not plugged in at all and had no sheets or anything on it. So it was fucking freezing in Michigan. It was perfect. But that's when I could make it to another room. And then after 24 hours goes by, you wake up and you eat pizza.
Yep.
But that's the last and the only time that I've had regret of that level. I've never had a hangover. I've definitely gotten drunk enough to pass out and roll into bonfires. And then your friends, of course, try to help you. So they put you back up at the top of the hill where you then roll down to the bonfire again. But never something like that. That was the worst feeling I ever had. And yet didn't actually contribute to me giving up alcohol. It was a few years later. But I didn't eat fruit for a long fucking time.
It's great story.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember. Goddamn, I remember jungle juice. And I assume jungle juice and WAP are the same thing to you.
I don't recognize that one.
Oh, Wapatui. It's essentially the same thing as jungle juice, from my understanding, where you just dump everything into a fucking bucket.
Just sounds racist as fuck.
And then you drink the concoction out of the bucket. The first time I had jungle juice, it was like someone's recipe. And every time I went to WAP parties, it was like, we have 9 bottles of this and a bunch of juice, and we just dump it in. But I always ate the fruit.
Yeah,
because I like fruit.
I guess if you're the one who can handle it, and that's the thing. I don't think I'm the only one, but I was definitely the one who everybody talked about after that.
The few times I ate the fruit, I was sleeping on the garage floor.
Yeah.
So that is a thing.
Cold, motionless, just let me lay here and die.
It was in the middle of summer, so it wasn't bad. It was in June because we partied for Flag Day in high school. Because the National Flag Day Museum is in Wisconsin.
This was a Halloween party.
See, it's a little too cold, potentially. It's potentially too cold to be sleeping in questionable places. Although in summer, it's potentially too hot to sleep in questionable places.
The most questionable place you can sleep is next to a toilet anyways. So I don't feel like anything beyond that was going to be any worse than what I was already doing. Especially living with my stepbrother, my stepfather, who I know don't have a lot of care about aim.
Oh, okay. So now that you said it, I got to tell you this story. So we moved back in May, and in one of the bathrooms, there's a light So you walk into the bathroom, there's a sink and a light above it, and there's like a big cabinet. And the cabinet blocks 90% of the light to the toilet. Okay? So fast forward, I'm finishing the bathroom in the basement with a buddy of mine, and we were like, in connecting the PEX in the basement that runs to the toilet upstairs had like a straight, solid supply hose. So when we were jiggling it, it bent it. So when we turned the water back on, the supply hose, it was pouring out and it was on the floor. Okay. So when I went to clean it up, I was using my phone for the light to make sure I got all the water. Well, as I turn my flashlight on and I have my face between the wall and the toilet, I look at the toilet and the whole side of the fucking thing is like yellow.
Oof.
And then I look over to the wall and the wall is fucking yellow. So whoever in the family that we bought this house from just pissed on the wall and then it sprayed on the toilet. And my face was like 6 inches away. Yeah,
and you were just like, let the fresh water come out and cleanse me, Lord. I just
got the bottle of Lysol and just went to town. I'm like, this is so gross.
I just would have burned it with fire.
Well, it didn't surprise me because the people were gross as fuck. Like every drawer had hair in it when we moved in. I'm like, how are you people so gross? And like the day before we moved in, she's like, oh, I'm just cleaning out the fridge, and I got here and I had to clean the fridge again. Like we have different ideas of clean. Yeah.
So you know that my pipes were clogged recently. Like
his plumbing pipes, not his penis pipes.
Those are clogged too, but that's another issue.
Yeah.
So I had used a snake and gotten the shower to drain because it was going, but it was going really slow. And then the kitchen sink started having a problem, and so some friends came and rescued me, and they got one of those professional electric auger things and plugged it in and did the main drain at the front of the house and the one at the side of the house by where the kitchen is. And so the kitchen one's working again. The washing machine is no longer shooting up water when it's trying to run. And so for a couple of days there, it's okay. But then the shower starts running slow again. I'm like, well, what in the motherfuck? So I finally snake it. Well, I open up the tap one time and I pull out what looked like a little shrunken head full of hair that was right in at the top there. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that might be it. And the next day I take a shower and I'm standing in water. I'm like, well, no, I guess that wasn't it. So I pull out what is the human head size of hair. And, you know, it's kind of like when you drink some spoiled milk and then you want your friends to drink the spoiled milk too, because you can't be the only one dealing with that shit. And it's like, no, try this. No, I don't want to try that. No, you got to fucking try it. I tried it. Now you try it. No, I'm not that fucking stupid. You're the dumbass. So now I've got this giant bowling ball of hair that I just pulled out of my drain. And of course I have to show it to my wife, not just because it's gross, and it really is, but because I'm trying to get a feel and I don't want to take all the blame myself. Like, how much of this hair is brown and how much of this hair is blue? Because if it's more blue than brown, bitch, that's your fault. And next time you're snaking the fucking drain and not me.
No, you're going to have to snake it anyways.
Yeah.
How that goes. Every week or so, I will just so fucking gross. But I'll notice like a hair film has formed over the drain, and I'll just like take my foot and drag it out, and then
just put it inside.
I tried like leaving it there as a hint to be like, hey, this is yours. You should pick it up. And then finally one day she's like, if you fucking leave a lot of hair, not like one more time, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm like, or you could pick it up. So now I just don't do it because I don't want to get murdered.
Does she take out the garbage?
No.
Right. See, that's the thing. My wife doesn't take out the garbage. And I'm like, you got to pick something. You know, I do the cat boxes. I take out the trash. I do the lion's share of the dishes and everything. She's leaving today. She's like, it'd be really great if you wash the towels. It would be fucking great if you wash the goddamn towel too. But all right. Yeah. So I wash the towels.
Yeah.
But pick something. Just one thing. Just make it yours.
Yeah. What the fuck? I asked her to do something, and it was like literally like, hey, on your way home, can you just stop at this liquor store and sign up to win a bottle of Pappy for me? And all she said was, do I have to? And I'm like, ooh. I'm like, you know what? Just forget it. I was like, motherfucker.
In every other way in my life, I am the luckiest son of a bitch in the world that I have my wife. But yeah, I'm gonna throw down some shit when I'm always picking up her towels and hanging them up so they don't get fucking mold on them, and the other stuff that I do. It's like she never doesn't appreciate it, but they're certainly like, oh, I don't really feel up to going to the store to get stuff to make dinner tonight. Can you pick up? No, I'll just eat crap. Well, no, I still wanted to eat something. I just didn't want to have to do it. But now that I'm not doing it, it's just not going to get done. All right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I can complain about petty shit all day, but.
And it's the pettiest shit.
It really is. And my thing is like, you know what? If all I have to complain about is like picking up socks, like,
right,
it's not that bad. I don't have to worry about her and like going and banging 12 dudes or something.
I mean,
Send
at
her
least
to the store and
those
she sucks
dudes
12
aren't
dicks.
leaving socks all over your floor. That's the important thing.
I know. They're not jizzing everywhere either.
Well, they could have been peeing on the side of your toilet.
Oh, that's where it came from. We have so many bathrooms in this house. You'd think that they would spread it out, piss on all the toilets instead of just one.
No, usually it's just on your drinking glasses. When you were talking about your story about it's not really well lit, I was afraid that you had somehow discovered like a blacklight feature on your phone, and so you turn that on and you just.
Well, I'm currently sitting in what was their teenage boy's bedroom.
Oh God!
So, but we painted.
I mean, you painted.
We
but
painted.
you probably did too.
Well, we painted and we took out the carpet. So the floor, like, there's really, unless there's jizz on the ceiling. Which is
what a
possible.
feeling.
Jizzing on the ceiling.
When I was 16, I painted my room black.
Oh God, here we go again.
I somehow convinced my mom and my grandmother to let me paint my room black. But then in my room, we did murals that were all in chalk and then some fluorescent paints and stuff. So the only two lights I had in my room for a long time was I had a red light, and if I didn't have that on, I would have a black light on. So yeah, I guess it was kind of like taking my life in my own hands, as if I was going to have people over and have the black light on. And
Growly's
can I
asking
sit
about
outside?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your story.
No, that's okay.
Guys, probably sucked anyways. So Growly's asking about dropping towels on the floor. I do not. When I get out of the shower, I do the floss method to make sure that my beehole is nice and dry, and then I hang the towel on like the towel bar on the shower door. What?
Is there a way to save the towel when you flossed your asshole with it? Like, well, at least it'll be good and dry and have flecks of my shit on it.
Why? That's what the towel.
Don't leave my wet shit stained towel on the floor. That's nasty.
Yeah, I don't want to get.
Hang that shit up so I think that it's clean enough to use later on my face and other.
Hey, whoa! We're talking about a freshly cleaned beehole here.
How freshly cleaned is it? Are you using a spigot up your ass?
Nope.
Are you?
I soap up my hand real good, and I just chainsaw my asshole to get it clean. You know what,
now
man?
I understand why you have a bloody chainsaw on your tattoo on your back.
You can't start the day until your butthole's clean.
No, I agree. I certainly I don't. You're talking to a guy who doesn't believe in toilet paper.
Wait, what?
You know,
Wait,
I don't believe.
How do you wipe your ass, buddy?
I use wipes.
Okay. I thought you were gonna tell me about how you need
His
like.
butthole does get clean. He just doesn't use toilet paper.
I assumed it was a bidet.
That is what I do. I come over and I grab your towel and I just shove that up my asshole for 10 minutes.
Hey man, it's an IKEA towel, so you know it's quality.
No, I've tried to explain this to somebody before. I'm like, you don't wash your face with a dry washcloth, and your face isn't covered with shit. What is dry toilet paper gonna do for you? It's gonna leave fucking flecks of paper in your ass.
I usually do 90% of the wiping with dry, and then I clean her up with a wipe.
Yeah, I see. I thought maybe it should be the reverse because you don't want your asshole too moist, or you want your asshole really moist, so that you can dry it off.
What you're doing
and hang up your towel. Yeah, but we went to Cancun. Aaron went a trip to Cancun once, and they had a bidet there, and we could
You
not
loved it,
get
you
ourselves.
fucking weirdo.
We couldn't do it. We just couldn't. She washed her feet in it.
Oh.
We went out to the beach. And she came back and she's like, I got sand all over my feet, and she washed them in the bidet.
Yay!
Oh, Jesus. I have a friend of mine has a bidet. Like, he bought a bidet attachment for his toilet, and he swears by it. I'm like, you know what? It's too weird, man. Because you still got to go in there and dry it out.
Well, and you really got to work your ass around to get aimed right. And second of all, what kind of jet are we talking about? Because I always think about the old Tim Allen comedy where he was like, I amp that shit up and now it shoots out 30 gallons per second. And just like, I want a bidet that's going to shoot me into the next fucking floor.
A fire hose.
Jesus, that's where you get weird butthole fetish stuff.
It just like, why are you crying? I'm not crying. I was just washing my asshole out.
You gonna sit on a fire hose?
Yeah.
I support that decision.
You're just like the guy in UHF.
Yeah, you get to drink from the fire hose. No?
Drink it in. Yeah. Why are we here?
Well, we're talking about buttholes.
Okay.
Growly's talking about the crimp method, and I'm trying to figure out how he does this. Like, so he like folds a piece of paper, stands up, and then just kind of like does a dance to wipe his ass.
You just walk around with mud butt all day?
Yeah, you could do. Oh, dude, that's the worst. Like, no. Soggy asshole is the worst. So if once we answer that question, we can talk about our movie. So we're gonna sit here in silence. Not really. I'm gonna try and drag this one out until he answers. Which I thought he would have done by now. Anyways, Black Christmas, 1974. Oh, here we go. He just gets a good grip on the towel with the cheeks. That's how you pull out butt hair, bud.
You act like you're starting a lawnmower with your ass with the towel.
Oh, man. That was an interesting conversation. So Anthony wants to talk about Black Christmas. So we actually have talked about the 2006 remake.
Probably
2 years
accidentally.
ago.
I think we realized afterwards that was not the one that we were supposed to do. I think originally Black Christmas had been suggested to us by Matt Vincent to do.
Yeah, probably.
And he was probably talking about this version, and we watched the newer version and felt really stupid about it.
This version is a lot more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There are things that I see that I wanna get into about comparisons between them. But this one, coming out in 1974, first of all, was a precursor to things like Halloween. Like, a lot of people believe that Carpenter got a lot of stuff for Halloween from this, and it was actually, I guess, originally pitched as a sequel to this in some ways, and then he decided to change up to have it be about Halloween instead and change some of the other aspects. Also, one thing I read is that this was Steve Martin's favorite movie for a long time, and he saw it 27 times.
Jesus. Shouldn't he be?
Yeah. Well, this was in the 70s.
It's true. There was, who wants to recap it? Which one of you two?
We'll give Anthony the opportunity. One, he hasn't talked enough. He
true.
apparently doesn't have enough shit stories, so.
No.
Too young, butthole still works. Just wait.
Weird.
Just a recap of the film, what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, depending on how much you want to know about the killer, it's about a creepy guy who calls a sorority house. Was it every year and just makes creepy phone calls, and then the sorority group moves into the house and actually gets snarky back, so he goes on a killing spree and kills all the people living in the sorority house on Christmas. That's the shittiest synopsis ever, but
Yeah, but that's really
He doesn't.
all that
He
there
doesn't
is.
just kill them though, right? Because there's a teenage girl that they find when they're looking for their. They're looking for their friend, and when they're dealing with the police and a dumb cop, and I think a dumb cop thing was like a weird trope that happened a lot because I remember that when we watched The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and I watched the original one before we watched the remake. there was a really stupid cop that was very much like the sheriff and Enos from Dukes of Hazzard in it. But he's a killer. What stands out about this compared to a lot of other movies is that they don't give us any information about who he is. We never find out who this killer is. We assume who the killer is at some point, but it's not ever sufficiently done. And that's where, when we get into it, I'll talk about some of the comparisons to the remake.
If you've already consumed all the great content from Galactic Network and you want, you're still hungering for more podcasts.
I need more podcasts. I gotta listen to
I'm Joe
them.
Listener over here. I just love audio media.
Is there a show for Joe Listener?
There
yes,
is.
There's two, in fact. If you are a Simpsons fan, you should check out Worst Episode Ever, a Simpsons podcast.
That sounds great, but I'm not a Simpsons fan. I love the 90s, but Simpsons is in my pop culture blind
if
spot.
you don't like The Simpsons,
so to speak.
How about 90s Percentile,
Oh,
which is
okay.
a show about the 90s, and both of them are hosted by you and me.
Oh,
Dan and Jack from Wii Studios.
I don't know why I'm so surprised then.
Why you shouldn't be.
Do I do the whole podcast in this voice?
You'll have to check an episode out to find out.
Where do I check it out?
WePodcast.com, of course. WePodcast.com.
This movie stars Olivia Hussey, who I had seen her Romeo and Juliet a lot when I was a kid. So I had a huge crush on her at that point. It was age appropriate. We were both like, well, she was probably older than me, actually. It has Margot Kidder, who's Lois Lane, who is spectacular as a drunk, bitchy person in this, and just kind of goes off in the direction that I think we all assume Margot Kidder went off after Superman 3. Andrea Martin is in this as Phyllis or Phil, and she's the only person who was in the remake. Yeah, she takes over as the sort of, I don't remember the term, like not
House mother?
The house mother for the girls. And yeah, and the sheriff is the same one who plays Nancy's dad in Nightmare on Elm Street. Except in this one, he seems to take the whole thing of the girls getting killed a little bit more seriously than he does. I guess he's just been through it so much by the time that all the kids are being murdered by some dream person. He's like, no, fuck you guys. It's probably just some asshole calling from inside the house. But that right there is a big thing about what this movie is. This movie is based off of that legend of the killer is calling from inside the house. Used in The Sitter, used in
When a Stranger Calls.
When a Stranger Calls, and the remakes of that and everything. I mean, I was alive when this was made. I do not recall ever having a time when I could phone my own phone number and have it ring like someone else was calling. So there's a second line inside the home, which seems a little weird because they have the points where, you got a phone call. Okay, I'll go take it in the other room. So usually it's one phone number for the whole house and just a whole bunch of different extensions for it. But like that seemed to be a thing that used to be, it was a legend of like the person's inside the house, they're calling you. And so every time you're answering it, that's why they know the conversations that you're having and they know where you are out and all that. It's just a little weird because it seems contrived, but maybe it wasn't. I did like the scene where they were trying to trace the call and they showed a guy running through what was the phone company, and he goes and he plugs in an extension to the line to see what it is and tests it. And he's like, oh, this is their own goddamn number. It's calling from the same place. So I thought that was neat as a little behind the scenes thing. But otherwise, I was just like, is that really something that happened? Is that something that could happen at that point? I know no phones were fucked up. When Margot Kidder is giving her phone number or the phone number of the house to the deputy, she makes fun of him and she says that the extension, it's fellatio 8732 or something. And he just like, what? She goes, oh yeah, it's a new extension, fellatio. It's FE. And then she spells it out for him. And then we have this whole scene later on where the other cops are laughing about the fact that the phone number says fellatio in it. And he's I don't know what that means. But okay, it was again a weird thing to just have. But I guess that's the point, is that phone numbers were very different back then. If it wasn't a 7-digit number like what you'd expect now, or with an area code, because that's kind of important at this point. Like, yeah, it's just that whole part seemed difficult to wrap my head around, and kind of took me out of it just because it's from such a different time. It would be like he's calling from inside the house, and they've got one of those phones up on the wall that you just kind of like click, click, click to get the operator, or you crank it to get it to work or whatever. Yeah, it's a little odd. In fact, I think she did click the phone when she was talking to her mom to try to get the thing up louder. So that's the other thing, too, is anytime they're getting obscene calls, they could have just double-clicked on the phone line, and the operator could have listened into the obscene phone call. Like, why do they need to get the cops involved at all?
Yeah.
Huh. I never thought about that. I talking like comparing this one to the newer one. I don't remember the specific phone calls that were in the newer one, but I'm fairly certain that they didn't involve him talking about juicy cock.
And you're dropping cunt a lot too in this, which was definitely edited out in other countries. I was surprised when I heard that. I'm like, did I just hear that right? And then he kept saying it again and again. I'm like, oh, I guess I did. That's sort of surprising for a 1970s film. Now, I don't know that they did as much with the phone stuff in the new one. I don't remember a ton of it. But one of the things about what he's doing in this, the character's name is Billy, and he keeps saying stuff to his sister, we presume his sister, Agnes. But he does voices, so it sounds like he's doing a man's voice or a woman's voice. He's going back and forth while he's also saying these horrible things to the women. Every time he winds up killing somebody, he has this conversation with Agnes. And so you get a feeling that Agnes is someone that he's done something to. In the remake, they introduce Billy's origin, and in Billy's origin, he actually has a sister, Agnes, and then in that one, they're both the killers. Agnes, and this is one of the things that weirded me out about the new one, is as kids, they're played by a boy and a girl, but when they have them as adults and they're in the house, Agnes is played by a guy. And I don't know why that is. And nothing I can find anywhere on the internet explains why they chose to have a man play this female character. It's either very progressive, which I can totally get behind, or it's just a completely weird choice, which seems more like what it is. And seeing some of the things that they said about the choices that were made about the movie that the director didn't really want, that the Weinstein wanted instead, like them reshooting a whole trailer with added scenes that were never in the film. I feel like it was more like just some fucked up shit going on. But at the end of this movie, we get who we are led to think is the killer is killed, and then the girl is left alone in the house by all the cops while they're trying to get the bodies out of there. So they just leave her asleep in this room, and then we hear what sounds like Billy's still talking. Now, since we don't actually see the killer, we don't know that he worked alone. And the fact is that the person, which was Olivia Hussey's character, Jessica, her boyfriend, Peter, could actually have been one of the killers. It could have been the two of them, because he's completely fucked up. There's so many things that don't make sense for him to not have been one of the killers for him to have done. Like he does snap. He's mad at her. He's screaming stuff at her. Part of their conversations get repeated by the obscene phone call later on. Like, you're getting rid of our baby like you'd get rid of a wart, like you'd have a wart removed. But also when he shows up randomly when she's hiding from the killer in the basement, he shows up outside of the window of the basement. There is no reason for him to have known that she was in there. He can't even really see her, but he's right at that window, banging on it, kicks in that window to come in. Why is he so specifically aware that she is down there? Just because he can't get into the house upstairs because those doors are presumably locked. After the killer disappears, he shows up outside the window and is like, hey, I'm coming in to get you. Why does he presume that that's where she is and that's the only way that he can get in? So that feels like maybe there was an Agnes in this. Maybe there was a Billy and an Agnes both, and we just never get the reveal of that. And maybe that's some of the things that they used in the remake that were to try to make sense of that. Or were just like rumored of like, oh, we thought about doing this way, or we thought about doing this way, and you can take whatever you want and run with it. I know that the director of the remake did talk to the original director, who gave it his blessing and said, yeah, go ahead with it and do stuff. That's all great. But I do think that it's interesting because we don't get a final reveal of the killer. In the remake, they go too far into revealing the killer and giving us a closed-up ending with both of them. But I do wonder if maybe that story had something there of like, it wasn't just one. And that's part of why having the mystery continue is important.
Well, yeah, if we didn't have the mystery, you and I, we would not be the three of us would not be having this conversation right now. And that's what I think is so interesting about the original, and a reason I don't particularly like the backstory of the remake is we don't know who the killer is. We have an idea, and we are presented a possibility from the director, but not a concrete answer to who the killer is. And just even that pan out, oh god, what's her name? Claire, is that the character's name?
The first one who's killed is Claire.
When the camera's panning out at the very end and you see Claire with the suffocated bag as he's talking, as the camera pans out in the house. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that I one of the best scenes in a horror film that I've ever seen. And that's why
all we ever see of the killer is his eye.
Exactly. And that's why and it's like the part at the end where Jess sees him in the closet, and he's like watching her and he's talking to her, and you see oh god, it's such a good scene. It's a good movie. Sorry.
It's fucking, I don't know. It's weird. I like knowing who my killers are, so I was a little upset that they don't tell you, but
it does give you that difference of it's the original Halloween versus Rob Zombie's Halloween, where in Rob Zombie's he explains a lot about Michael. And with the original, you don't get all of that explanation of this character. It's the mystery. It just adds to the scariness of him. And for many, not for everybody, that they feel like that's part of where Rob Zombie does the character wrong, is by going too much into his family and utilizing it to show his wife off on screen. And not like it's ever bad to see her up on screen, but
she's starting to look weird because they're all stupid and vegan, though.
I don't know. There's a point in time when Rob Zombie doesn't look weird. It doesn't matter what he eats. But they're still cool. They're still absolutely cool. Just in general. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying is like, that's the thing is we feel like we have to explain things to the audience now. We have to give them all this extra information, and I don't know that that's necessary. I think sometimes the mystery is more appropriate, especially in horror stuff. We follow the killer and his twin brother in that Thanksgiving movie that we did a couple weeks ago, and it just seemed like even knowing who it was didn't really explain why he was the way it was. It was just ridiculous. It was almost stupid, and like I just snapped because I wanted to snap. And my brother's crazy too, but he didn't actually kill anybody. And my mom thinks that I'm cool, even though I'm the son of a bitch who keeps stabbing people in the face.
Maybe his wife left towels on the floor.
That's very possible. And he didn't have a nice clean butthole.
That's enough to drive any man insane.
Ugh. So some of the things about this that are quaint are just the little things that are kids singing Christmas carols outside your door for 10 minutes. And you can see the look on Jessica's face where she just seems like, I have to keep standing here and listening. And it's all very sweet, but can I go back inside now? Because I feel like I have friends who've maybe been murdered just recently, and I should probably be getting back to that. And while they're singing, of course, someone is being murdered actively upstairs, but you can't hear it because there's people singing downstairs. That's the other thing is
that was weird.
I wonder how much sound travels in this house. I know it's a big house because it's a sorority house, but if the guy is calling and screaming through the phone at them, like I feel like when he yells expletives at them, you would probably hear it coming from upstairs better than you can hear it standing 5 feet away from the receiver. Like they're all gathered around the phone listening, and there is no speakerphone feature on the phone, so they're all just like trying to listen to the little earpiece as a group. I've never had that kind of luck of getting that much sound, because if you then put the phone up to your ear, you're going to go deaf. It's like, oh, I thought I was getting a phone call, but instead I feel like I just walked out of a Who concert.
Why the Who?
Because I think, didn't one of the guys from the Who complain about he got tinnitus because he played his shit so loud?
I'm sure a lot of musicians did.
Yeah.
Fucking the Who. Who are you, Corey? Who?
Well, we are trying to talk about solving a mystery, and it seems like since the Who did every opening for CSI, that
that's true. That's very true.
They're appropriate.
Oh man, I wish I had like a sweet one-liner and some sunglasses right now. Really hammer this one home. Yeah, this movie is fucking weird.
Did you like it?
I didn't hate it.
Woo!
I liked that it was like really creepy and a little bit much. There wasn't really a ton of story though. You know, it's pretty like, which I'm not complaining about. It's just very like, hey, there's this killer and he's going after these dumb biddies.
Did either of you think that when he was on the phone, he sounded like Reagan from The Exorcist?
A little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly what I thought.
I thought he did the entire. I'm not come over there. Like the entire time. That's all I could. All I could picture. I pictured Reagan on the other end of the line.
That is 100% accurate. And The Exorcist, what came out in
the year before that 73, right. And then the same year, I think, didn't Texas Chainsaw Massacre come out that year too? 74.
Yep, 74, October 1st.
74. Okay. October 1st, did it come out? It came out
after
Black Christmas came out. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre was October 1st, and Black Christmas was December 20th.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So Black Christmas came out after. I read something about it coming out in July somewhere, and I'm like, why would you put out a movie called Black Christmas in July? But that might have been the following year when they were still trying to aim it around at different places. And same I know that it had Silent Night, Evil Night was one of the titles that they put it out under because they didn't think Black Christmas was a good selling point for it, and then they wound up changing it back. But then we eventually got Silent Night, Deadly Night, which probably stole the thing from it. It's like, didn't Scream steal its title from something else? Oh, Scary Movie. Scary Movie stole its title from Scream.
Yeah,
because it was originally supposed to be called that.
Forgot about that.
I liked the performances in this. I liked the over-the-top kind of craziness of Margot Kidder's character when she was either when she was drunk or when she was just mean. She was just a bitch the whole time to her friends, to everybody, just in general. Like, I'm gonna make fun of the detective who's supposed to be protecting the lives of me and my sisters. Yeah, I'll just fucking throw fellatio at him. Not in a way that you'd want, but and then the house mother was also like anything I can to get drunk, and just kept swearing and being inappropriate in front of the dad of Claire. Like, she had to turn towards him, like try to act demure all of a sudden again when she knows that she's not fooling him at all. Like, well, please don't look at my peace poster of two people fucking. But they had let's chase this cat down. I've got a cab waiting outside for me, but I'm going to go up in the attic that this cat should have had to climb a ladder to get up to. It just like real fast grab this cat. Some cliche stuff, like maybe it wasn't as cliche then, but it still has that feel of like, how many times are we going to see this?
Cinematically
repeated?
And story-wise, I don't think it holds up incredibly well. But atmosphere wise, like the home video feel to it, is the one thing that I really like, and that they haven't been able to recreate in modern horror films.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find it hard. I don't think it's held up incredibly well, but I do like it. I do like it as a film.
Yeah, after seeing things like Friday the 13th and Halloween, is you expect that moment where they wander through the house and they find the different bodies.
Yeah.
And while Jessica's character does find two of them, they never really find Claire or Mrs. whatever her name is. Oh, I can't even think of her name now. Mrs. Quaife? No, that can't be right.
Mrs.
Something with an H.
H, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see her in the credits,
Oh, okay.
but they don't find them. The cops don't even find them.
Never mind.
Because when they leave, Claire's still up there. So it's a little weird that the cops. Oh, we looked all through the house. What about the attic? Oh, fuck the attic. Nobody would be up there. That's crazy.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh, like no, don't worry about it. Dumb cops are the downfall of horror films.
Absolutely, especially because one of the cops is actively dumb. But then the other cops that keep making fun of him for being such a dumb shit are right there, and they don't do any better. But I do feel like at least the deaths in this mattered.
Yeah.
Like the killers go around killing people. In the remake, there was a point where Andrew Martin's character gets killed by a falling icicle.
Yes.
Like, we don't see one death in the car. We don't see Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character get killed. We just see, like, the inside of the car gets splattered with blood. We have no idea how. But the house mother walks around, and while she's walking around, she looks up, and an icicle just falls down and lands in her face. And it's that. So everybody else is getting murdered, but you just got killed because of gravity. All right. Yeah. It's just so random. This wasn't anything like that. Like the people who were killed, it was all. We don't really know what happened to the teenage girl, the why or how of it, but it seems like she definitely gets killed. It's also weird though that we go through the beginning is we see someone kind of stumbling around and then they crawl up the outside of the house to get up in the attic, but then we have that cliche of someone left the front door open. And so wouldn't it have been one or the other? Like, oh, you guys, you left the front door open. Well, okay, so that's the moment we know that the killer got in. No, we saw the killer crawl up the fucking pipe outside to get up there. So, again, I wonder, were there two killers? Because at that point in time, the boyfriend, Jess's boyfriend, Peter, wasn't at the party. So he could have gone in there. He could have been a part of it too. It's just strange. And we know that he does go into the house later on and says he took a nap in her bed while he was waiting for her to get there. So he just has access to the house as well. And randomly like shows up. Oh, it's okay that I'm coming down the stairs where people are being killed right now. You know, where there's definitely a killer in your house. So it still feels to me like he was not just suspect for the sense of like a red herring, but he was actually very potentially a part of things. But in that case, is he Billy or is he Agnes? Or are they both Billy?
He's Bagnus.
They're Billy Loomis. That might be a thing too. I don't know if maybe the idea of two killers is something that Scream possibly pulled. Just the fact that it was Billy seems a little on the nose.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm talking my ass now.
I wonder if there was ever a sequel planned that was supposed to answer that question, or if they just never cared.
Well, yeah. Bob Clark, before John Carpenter made Halloween, John Carpenter loved, I guess, Black Christmas, and asked him what he would do for a sequel, and he said that he would have him break out of the mental institution on Halloween and call it Halloween.
Yeah.
And then John Carpenter went ahead and did Halloween.
Now, at the time of 1974, did we see a lot of horror movies with horror sequels?
I
don't think
not
so.
that I know of. No, because
the ones we always think about are Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
When did
Were the first-
when did Psycho 2 come out?
That was the early 80s.
That was the early 80s. Okay. And that was also wasn't that also with Olivia from this movie, Jessica from this movie? She played the young version of Mrs. Bates.
Mrs. Bates?
Mm-hmm. In one of the sequels. I can't remember which one it was, though.
Meg Tilly was Mary Loomis in Psycho 2. That I remember.
Psycho 4.
Psycho 4?
Yep.
Yeah, because that's the one where he's on the radio show confessing everything and talking about it. And it does the flashbacks. But no, I can't think of any sequels.
That's the thing is,
I mean, aside from the Hammer horror films,
right?
Which with Christopher Lee, but that's all I can think of.
Yeah, and those are closer to like creature feature weirdness than like stalker movies. So yeah, so it would have been kind of a big deal then if there had been a sequel to Black Christmas, especially if they made him a holiday killer. Right. If they followed around and we've got to the eventual inevitable Groundhog's Day, and that seems potentially like, okay, yeah, that would have been interesting. So it means though that for all intents and purposes, they probably made this movie and thought that it was just going to ever be this movie, and so that means leaving the questions there. That's what they intended. They were always going to be there. That they weren't going to explain those things out, and that's a subtlety that doesn't really exist in movies anymore, and kind of stop existing. Then we get answers in the first Friday the 13th, and then we change the killer in the second one, and going forward, it just becomes that killer over and over. But yeah, it was getting that moment of like, oh, okay, so we don't know. And, there could be more to this. And there's certainly more story that we'll never get the answer to.
Right. And, the thing with Friday the 13th is, had they left it alone with the first movie and ended it with her being pulled into the lake by the young Jason corpse.
Right.
I feel like the questions that we're asking about Black Christmas would have had a similar effect on Friday the 13th. Had they left it alone and no sequels, just ended it there, it would have been completely different. But I think sequels really just like, okay, we're answering this question, then this question, then this question, then this question, until a full story is a full. Sometimes story, sometimes cash cow. It depends on the.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could have anticipated how big Friday the 13th was going to blow up and how it was just going to continue on and on and on. Even Halloween, Carpenter was the one who was so excited about Halloween 3 being not about Michael Myers or Laurie Strode or any of that. Yeah. He thought that was the best move for that franchise. He's like, if we're going to continue on, I wanted to be about different horror stories that take place at Halloween.
Anything can happen on Halloween. Anything. Right. And I love, but it gets a bad rap. People don't like it because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. But
it feels like the most dated of the movies.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. Halloween Resurrection feels very dated too. It's just more modern dated, but
Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes and doing a reality ghost hunting show in the house where Michael Myers killed people. And even that to me is better than we're going to keep playing with the continuity so first it's Halloween 1 and 2 happen, and then we have Halloween 4 and 5 and then sort of 6 that continue the story, but then we have to wipe out the continuity of 4, 5, and 6 to have Halloween H2O make sense. And then we kill Jamie Lee Curtis at the end of Resurrection, but now we're bringing her back and we're going to wipe out everything from 2 on to make Halloween the first one, and now this new Halloween, whatever it's going to be, and that'll be the only movies that exist. And it seems really shitty. It seems shitty for all of the films that came between, all of the actors and actresses. I read an interview that Tori did with Danielle Harris about it, and she's she's absolutely cool about it. And people on the internet are blowing up at her saying, well, she just is upset because she's not in the movie.
Well,
No, she's really supportive. She's like, I'll be there first day to see it, just like everybody else, because I'm a fan first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I guess why some people are upset, and I get why some people are upset. You have actors like Donald Pleasance who have been there from the very beginning.
Yep.
Worked his way through 2, 4, 5, and 6. Worked hard, gave a Shakespearean performance through all the movies, was a great, great actor. And
I don't think anybody gave a Shakespearean performance in number 6, but
he did it. He did his best.
He did his best
with the material. And then it's like all for naught now. Well,
also because every one of these movies is somebody's favorite.
Right.
You know,
4 is my favorite.
What's that?
4 is my favorite.
Yeah, I love 4 and 5. I loved that they did something with Michael Myers that made sense to go forward with the character when we couldn't have Laurie anymore. Right. And I think Daniel did an impeccable job as that character, and I hated that they had someone else play her, and then to just kill the character off in 6. It felt like just such a waste after what we were building in those first 2 with that character. I wanted that to reach a closure. I wanted it to be a trilogy. Probably like many people wanted Laurie Strode thing to get a third one to finish it off. And I felt like H2O did that. It had to shit on the stuff before it to make that happen. But then to do it again is just really weird to me. It's not like we're relaunching the whole series. It's we're just fixing what we see as being broken about the series to give our own bookends. But yeah, you've had a person who already got to do that in the movie again. You know, it's just a weird thing to take. But if the end result is a great film, then I'm going to enjoy the great film. I'll just give it a lower score because of what it's done.
Wow. Corey's butthurt.
I'm not butthurt so much as I just... we're talking to somebody
passionate.
We're talking to somebody who makes content, you know, and as a person who makes content, I respect that and look forward to that more than I look forward to constant remakes and retellings of the same things over and over again, because it's lost the ability to be something original, and it's just an intellectual property that someone can bank on because of the name. You know, I think that there's more to be said for having something new to look forward to and putting work into creating something original than there is to just do the same thing over and over again and keep getting diminishing returns on it.
Yeah, but money. I mean,
but that's the thing is the money. Yeah, and it's probably it's because of the audience. The audience will rather go look at something that is familiar than look at something that's new. And I worry that people are going to skip on seeing something like The Shape of Water or other new things and instead go see something that has Chucky as part of it or Halloween as part of it or a remake of It, which I love. I love that remake of It. But it is still something that had already existed in film once. And I don't count it for the fact that it was a book first. I think adaptation is one thing, but doing it as a film after it already, you can go buy the DVDs of the original miniseries. It does lose the fact that we've seen it. We just are seeing a much better and updated version. But at some point, you just got to let it go and let it exist as it is.
Yeah. Well, like
Disney. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no. I was literally about to say exactly what I think you were about to say. Is that Disney, adapts these dark fairy tales and makes it, kid friendly. But like, I have an idea for a Pinocchio that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I can't do it, but I want to do it. Hopefully down the road. And my adaptation, there are children who, when transformed into the donkeys, go wrong and like end up misshapen, and they take them out back and shoot them. That's the adaptation of Pinocchio I want to do, where they take the ones who weren't transformed into donkeys properly, and they execute them behind Pleasure Island.
Feed people donkey meat.
Exactly.
And they're essentially cannibals.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's rumors that the donkey from Shrek is actually one of the kids who gets transformed into
I heard that.
Pinocchio, which means that, well, wouldn't then the babies the donkey has with the dragon, wouldn't they be somewhat human babies too? But yeah, what I was gonna say is Disney used to roll out every couple of years. Every time there was a new kid actor, they would do another Tom Sawyer or a Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah.
And just continuously over and over again, every 3 years, it'd be, here's the new Tom Sawyer, here's the new Huck Finn, here's the new Adventures of Tom and Huck, over and over and over again. And I used to watch a show about those two characters that was on Showtime, I think, as a kid. And I was really into it at the time because it was, it was something that was aimed at my age group and everything. But it was just how many fucking times, like, here's Jonathan Taylor Thomas in the part, and here's some other redheaded stepchild in the part. And it's like, okay, but come up with something new for these kids to do. Can't imagine that everybody's like aching for the next retelling of the whitewashing the fence scene, and that it's like, this is the magic of cinema again has brought us such greatness. Fucking A. And I do appreciate being someone who's read a story and like wants to do their version of it. Like everybody wants to do a Wizard of Oz. Everybody wants to do Alice in Wonderland all the fucking time. Like I can't tell you how many billions of tries there are at updating and darkening Alice in Wonderland in comics and novels and everything else. Like, oh, but I'm the one who's going to do it cool and right. No, you're probably not, because everybody's done it by now.
Yeah.
And it's really that you have a little girl fetish and you need to kind of admit it to yourself. But just in general, like I can appreciate the fact that when we read or experience a movie or read a book or something, that as a person who is a storyteller, we kind of take it off in our own direction. We think, oh, well, what if we turned left instead of turning right at this point? What if we twisted this one little thing? How would it affect? It's a butterfly effect thing from creativity standpoint. And that's pretty cool. But then how much harder is it to take it and spin it into your own thing? There's plenty of stories. Stranger Things is a story that owes so much to so many different sources of stuff, including a lot of Stephen King stuff. But it did something new instead of just copying or redoing that other thing. And that's why I think it took off. It's not something that's going to be there and forgettable, because they then get to build on that and do their next season and then do their next season and all those things. They can draw on other sources of inspiration if they want to. But realistically, they own all that shit. Someone made a Stranger Things bar, a pop-up bar, and Netflix wasn't dicks about it. They were just like, hey, just so you know, you should probably ask us for permission before doing that. And so we don't want to sue you, but maybe step back and work with us next time, but they were cool about it. And it's a huge compliment that you created something, or were part of a creation of something that people do want to make a pop-up bar of, or people do want to make Etsy products from, or whatever. They want to make hats that Jane wears from Firefly until Fox sues the shit out of them and closes down their Etsy stores. It's like, that's huge. It's huge to have people love your stuff so much that they want to be a part of that. And you're not going to get that if you're just going to keep putting out the same IP over again, because you're going to hit the point where, well, fuck your Freddy Krueger, because my Freddy Krueger was Robert Englund, or my Chucky was Brad Dourif. And if you don't have Brad Dourif as Chucky, then you're full of shit, because there's only one Chucky. There's only one Han Solo, and I don't give a fuck about your young Han Solo movie. I probably am going to enjoy the Han Solo movie. Wow. But I can feel like I understand people who wouldn't, because Han Solo's only ever been one guy and should only ever be that one guy. That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Matt, how'd you like the movie?
I mean, I kind of said my piece. I mean, it's pretty pretty easy to digest story, and it's really nothing terrific, but it's nothing terrible. Some of the more fucked up things took me a little by surprise based on the fact that it was a movie from the 70s. Yeah, that really sums it up.
You ever get crank calls when you were a kid? Was that something that still happened? Like
we used to
dirty
prank call
calls.
People no, not dirty.
When I was a kid and we were living in an apartment, my mom and I, and my mom would be not home from work yet or whatever, and it would be dark, or she would have something she'd have to do after work. And I was old enough to be by myself, but maybe still young enough that my brain could freak out. So we had pretty bad windstorms one night, and I got some phone call, and it was someone who said that they knew my mom, knew her from work, and they're just sitting there chatting with me, and I'm like, okay, and I'll chat back. And then all of a sudden, this person started asking me if I touched myself. Whoa. And I freaked out, and I hung up the phone. Now,
said it.
Yeah. Now, it used to be that if you hung up the phone, you couldn't then pick up the phone again and get a dial tone, because if the person who called you hadn't hung up, they retained the connection. Mm-hmm. So I hung up the phone, and I tried to pick up the phone to call my mom, or my grandmother, or somebody. And of course, this guy's still on the phone. Now, this guy says he knows my mom, knows her by name, but probably looked her up in the phone book or something.
Right.
And now knows too much information about me, and I'm at home by myself, and I'm freaking the fuck out. And then the wind blows my front door open.
Oh, I'd shit myself.
I basically almost shit my pants, and then would have just used it as ammo to throw at whatever walked in. But that's the thing, is that getting these kinds of calls are terrifying. And now we're in a place where you don't get the phone calls, but you get people who approach you on the internet or post stuff on comments on your Twitter or on YouTube, whatever. But then they dox you. They find out your information, your address, and they post that so that you can get abused, and people can find your house and find out where you live and come to you and do whatever they want. And that's just scary as shit. And the fact that some people think that it's okay or it's not that big of a deal, they don't seem to understand how not okay that is and how terrifying that is to the person that's happening to. We both know Gregor, who I do the show Elsterns with. Gregor got swatted on a show that we were recording together. Like, someone found out his information, called up the police, acted like he was him, said, "I'm in my house, I've got a gun," and police showed up at Gregor's house while we're recording a show, and I all of a sudden see cops come walking into his room, weapons drawn, and very much threatening to his life. If they hadn't kept their cool, if they hadn't assumed that it could have been a false thing, it could have been a very different turnout for my friend.
Unfortunately, like, swatting and being swatted has become fairly commonplace, which I think is fucked up and not like a good thing. But I think that most cops kind of go into a lot of these situations with a grain of salt, which is fucked up, because now when it really happens, they have to like wonder if this is something they have to like. Is this real or is this not real? Yes. Yeah.
And then you're Nancy's dad in Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like, oh, kids are just being fucking kids.
Yep.
Or, oh no, there's shit going on. And just one more thing the cops have to worry about is how much of this is me taking my life in my own hands, walking in the situation either too nonchalantly to keep a calm for these people, or I should be going in with guns drawn to protect myself, protect my partner, protect the other people in the house, and that kind of thing. It's just terrifying, and it's awful. And I'm a person who's for a free internet. I'm a person who's for open internet, but there's definitely things that make it it's too easy to do that kind of shit. And there's no way at this point in time to keep it from happening. And that's scary. But in 1974, we didn't have star 69. You couldn't get a call and then call the person back and say, who the fuck are you and why are you calling me? It wasn't easy to just track this shit down. So you dealt with that. If you're a house full of girls, and this is based off of, I read one thing that was based off of Ted Bundy, but it seemed more like it was based off of Kemper, the co-ed killer, in my opinion, that they couldn't play this on TV in several states when they were going to the next year, because there had just been a group of murders that had happened in a couple of, or in the state where two girls were killed on their campus in their sorority by somebody. And it's just like, yeah, this is something that absolutely could have happened, and in sort of some ways did. The story of the person calling from inside the house, it's an urban legend, but it's based off of a true story again, of somebody who was murdered in their home, and they made it look like they broke in from the outside, When they eventually found the guy, it turned out that he had been let in, and he just faked it. He broke the window afterwards and stuff. That's scary. That's kind of terrifying in a simple, real world kind of way. But just it's weird that now we don't do this with phone calls. We found other ways of abusing each other.
Yeah. Found meaner
Thanks,
ways.
Apple.
It's more than just Apple. It's just assholes.
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing.
People who are assholes, not physical buttholes.
Right. Because then they just get a good wipe and they'd be okay.
Yep, with the wet wipe. That's how Corey wipes. You want to rate this?
Yeah, we can rate it.
Maybe we don't have to, but we can.
We probably should.
All right. 0 to 5 scale. Anthony, as our guest, you have to go first.
It's 1 to 5, right?
0 to 5.
Yep. Well, 0 to 5.
Not that
0
you
to
give it a
5?
0, but
No. I'm gonna give it a 4, purely based on the fact that the character development I think wasn't fleshed out as much as it could have been, and the cinematography does not quite hold up as much as a film now does. And I like the rawness of it. I love the plot. I love the mystery. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4.
nice. Corey, how about you?
I'm definitely gonna go lower. I'm gonna go more of a 2. I think that one, you have to make the forgiveness that this existed before a lot of other things that have emulated it. So if you feel like you're seeing these things over and over again, this is one of the originals that everything else copies from. And I do like the sense of mystery left to it. It's just overall, Matt's right. There's not a huge amount of story. Otherwise, it's some good performances in an otherwise pretty basic slasher movie. It's just elevated by a couple of things. Matt and I did rate the remake. Both of us, we rated it 0 on a 1 to 5 scale. So I'm very comfortable giving it a 2 based off of that.
Yeah, based on everything I said earlier, I agree with Corey at 2. I mean, it's something I would recommend to someone given the right circumstances, but I don't think this is something I would ever watch again. But all in all, I'm not upset that I watched it, because I know Anthony is very concerned about Corey and I hating the movies he brings. So I just want to reassure him I didn't hate it.
Well, we would have done Krampus, but you guys already did that.
I actually really liked Krampus too,
which I love. I love movies like that and Gremlins. I love those are my favorites to watch.
It's getting to a point now where you have to find more obscure movies because we've been doing this so goddamn long.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, earn your paycheck.
Okay, I get paid in wet wipes, apparently. Yep. You can contact us by leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966. You can email us at pot@gncast.com, or you can leave us a message on the website. You can also follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're at Podcast of Terror. And you can subscribe to us via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Podchaser is the thing where I'm suggesting people go to do reviews now, since I guess iTunes or iTunes Podcast or whatever they're doing it now, Apple Pod is all screwed up.
Yep.
And just in general, it's nice to get something that isn't controlled by any of those singular entities, but use the one that you like. If you listen to stuff in Stitcher, go ahead and rate us on Stitcher. If you listen through Google Play, do it there. Or the best thing is to email us, because then we get the feedback directly and we can talk to you directly. We like that.
Yeah, if you rate the show somewhere, like email me and let us know, or email us and let us know so I can read it. Because it's easy for me to check iTunes, but I'm not good at Stitcher. I'm not good at Podchaser, so it's a pain in the ass to like go to each one and look every week. So
it's one of those things where when you leave a review somewhere, it doesn't give us the interaction, but it does maybe help us get discovered by other people. So it's absolutely valued. It's just that if you're interested in talking with us directly, an email makes a big difference to us, because then we can. But you can also email us and say, hey, I don't want this read on the air.
That's true.
And
too.
We're fine with that.
That's true.
You know, we won't give your name if you don't want your name given. And if you just email us and say, hey, you guys are a bunch of shitheads, We can handle that.
The first time. Yeah, so as Corey mentioned, Apple's changed things. And if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, you may have noticed that it wasn't able to download till like Friday, and it came out Monday night. I don't know what happened. I tried fixing it, and it didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden one day it just worked. So I'm sorry about that, and that's that. There's nothing I can do. I tried. But it's the Christmas season, so if you want to help us out and buy yourself stuff, I guess, go to amazon.podcastterror.com. Shop on Amazon as you normally would. Gives us a little kickback, costs you nothing. You still get sweet things in 2 days, and then it helps fund my cocaine addiction that I haven't started yet. It never will. It's just gonna pay
Because
off the mixer.
when Matt does coke, he pisses on the side of the toilet. Like,
So it was me all along. That's the twist of the movie. I peed on my own toilet.
it's a Christmas miracle.
Fuck you. Anthony, where can people find you and all of the movies that you're doing?
You can find me on IMDb and also on CinemaScape Studios on YouTube. We just released our most recent film, Company, which was in the Fright Days Film Festival. It was just screened at the Austin Spotlight Film Festival.
That's awesome.
And then we have our latest film coming out, Silent Life, which I wrote and directed.
Nice. There'll be links to Anthony's stuff in the show notes. So if you...
Yeah, absolutely. Because you sent me the link to the trailer for Silent Life, and that is through CinemaScape Studios. So that's another thing too, is that while your stuff, is it just all through that, or is it around in different places?
It goes around. The trailers are usually on YouTube and Vimeo, but a lot of the times the films won't get posted on their actual release date because they're out circling and like in select like theaters that have been rented out by us and stuff like that. So
Right. So, guys, if you get the chance, go look up CinemaScape Studios on YouTube and subscribe to their channel.
Yes, twice. So that you know.
3 times, because if you subscribe and then subscribe again, that means you've unsubscribed.
Oh, yeah.
And then you subscribe the 3rd time.
All right. Corey, where can people find you?
You can find the comics that I helped publish. I actually published the whole rest of the 3rd issue of Spells this week to be able to have them all up for the holidays, because it was a Christmas special issue anyways. And I'm posting Levi's World on Thursdays. So go to donutcomics.com. That's where you can find the works of Levi Krause and friends, sometimes me. I do all the blog stuff. And you can also, if you want, support my wife's artwork if you go to store.arthag.com.
You're so sweet. Don't pick up
I love
her
my
towels.
wife. Yeah, buy us fresh towels.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Untapped at Matt the Lifeguard. Next week we're going to be talking about another 70s movie called Gore Girls with Mark Krawczyk, who does the Spoiler Room podcast and the Final Cut YouTube show. He was on a
He's
while
got the
ago.
bug eyes thing, like Janine in Ghostbusters. Like every time I see a picture of Mark in front of a movie poster, he does the bug eyes, and it's creepy. But he's awesome, dude. Awesome.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. Yeah. It's been over a year since he's been on. God damn it, Mark. Yeah, he always brings really interesting movies, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that's going to do it for another episode of the Podcast of Terror. We will talk to you guys next week.
Stay scared, everybody.
Life.